Welcome to Season 3 of the Knack for Business podcast. Over 250 episodes strong, we're here to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit with fresh insights, networking gems, and creative strategies that elevate your game. Are you ready to discover what your Knack for Business truly is?
Today's topic is understanding and using AI for nonprofit leaders. Your hosts are Brittany Fransbrot from Creative Insight and Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc. So what can you expect from the Knack for Business podcast? It aims to help you find your feet in the business world. Whether you're just starting out or you've been at it for a while, we have something for everyone. In each episode, they dive deep into a particular area of business and explore the ins and outs of that subject. They interview guests that are experts in their field who share their success stories and their experiences. They offer practical tips and advice. Our guest today is Daniel Livvarcin from Vectors Group. Daniel is a retired Navy captain and recognized leader in the nonprofit sector, has dedicated his career to enhancing the global capacity of nonprofits and charities. As the founder of Vectors Group, a vision he nurtured for 25 years, and a part-time professor at the University of Ottawa, he has guided hundreds of organizations worldwide, co-authoring risk management for nonprofit organizations, understanding and using AI. Dr. Livvarcin offers invaluable insights into the challenges and opportunities in this sector. His passion extends to empowering youth, advocating for women's rights, supporting immigrants, and amplifying the voices of underrepresented communities with a focus on creating equitable opportunities for BIPOC, youth, women, immigrants, and Indigenous peoples. Daniel, welcome back. What's your favorite quote or saying, sir?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My favorite quote is about AI. Don't be afraid, be prepared.
So last time we talked, we touched on AI in our last podcast. What's changed in the world of AI and respect to non-for-profits?
I was expecting things to become clearer, but it actually became more complicated. Just like many other people, I got the impression that after a couple of months, things will settle and we will have a better understanding what AI can do for us and what AI tools will. But it became even more complicated. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that there are more opportunities than we can imagine at the beginning. So AI is evolving, and then AI is becoming a bigger opportunity than we expected initially. And the development process didn't end yet. So it became a more complicated picture for decision makers. But on the other hand, it also gave us some clues about this path. So it became evident that this path is not only inevitable, but also a great opportunity for all kinds of organizations. Although we cannot see the end of the tunnel yet, we know that it goes to a better place. So there is no risk in taking the first step and exploring the opportunities of AI.
Daniel, what are the first steps? But what are the first steps, especially in a nonprofit?
The first step is the mindset, Wayne. It has nothing to do about the technology or the AI itself, but it's the mindset. This is the first question that nonprofit leaders should ask themselves. Is your organization ready to embrace AI? Or are you personally ready to embrace AI? Let me give you an example. Imagine you receive an email from one of your employees, and you can easily tell that it's written in AI, right? How will you feel? Some people will feel offended. So shall I allow my students to use AI when they develop their assignments, when they write their assignments? The traditional and the current response is, no, it's not allowed, right? But maybe there is room for using AI to get support. So we can still see the human factor in it. It's easy to say that organizations are open to AI and technology, but when it comes to practice, I see lots of decision makers are not ready for that. They are not ready to change. Even when they have the AI tools, they tend to use the traditional ways of managing organizations. So the first step is deciding to become an AI-ready organization and embrace that. And of course, the second step immediately after this, maybe we can call it 1.5 step, because it's not really the second step, but just defining the processes in your organization and determining the areas where AI can be utilized. Organizations can start using AI, but not efficiently or properly. You need to adjust your mindset and your organization to become fully ready for AI and technology integration.
Do you have any success stories or case studies you can brag about?
Yeah, there was an early success story. Actually, it was surprising for me. I was assisting community health center to identify areas where they can integrate AI. So in the administration side, it was relatively easy because there are less restrictions. But on the medical side, on the clinical side, there are lots of restrictions because of the privacy regulations. Medical data, you cannot distribute it, you cannot record it, you cannot shift it, you cannot play with medical data unless you establish certain conditions. So there are some AI tools that converts speech to text and just pull out the necessary parameters and put it in databases. But our medical system is like a closed box, so for understandable reasons, because it includes personal information that no one should access. But on the internet side, there are tools that can detect our language and convert this to text. You might be surprised to learn that our medical doctors, they spend nearly 30% of their time for data entry. So it's a wasted time, right? Before we build more hospitals or train more doctors, we can reduce their unnecessary administrative workload and gain 30%, which is a significant improvement. There are some AI tools, but they were not legally integrated with the system. Luckily, there was an Ontario-based technology company. So how lucky are we, right? And they developed this technology, but they not only developed this technology, they also convinced the government agencies that it's a trustable software. They spent 2 years for the development of AI and another 2 years to convince the decision makers it's a right tool and it's a trustable tool. But we found them at the end of the stage, and they now in a phase of integrating AI to the community health center. So they have 6 doctors, so imagine 30% savings. This is the success of AI. It not only converts speech to text, it also gives some medical suggestions to the doctor. So if the doctor is not sure about certain things, it can communicate with the AI. It's a comprehensive medical support system. And it's happening in Ottawa. It was quite impressive for me to see an AI application in the medical field as early as now, not because of the technological improvements, but because of the bureaucratic process. And I congratulate the founder, not just for developing the AI, but also overcoming the bureaucratic limitations. Maybe this is another field that we need to deal with in the future. So it's not just the organization that needs to be ready, it's also the governments or legislation organizations to become AI ready. The world is changing and we must be prepared for it, not as just ourselves, but as a society and all institutions of the society.
Have you started developing apps yourself, like within Vectors Group, like a smaller scale as one? The medical one has a little more teeth to it, right? It's got to be secure and tight and related parties. So have you started doing that?
We put it as a strategic priority. So our services regarding AI includes 3 stages. The first one is AI consultation. Okay, so we look at the organization, analyze their processes, and give them advice. The second stage is AI customization. We analyze the organization, and some of the AI tools need to be customized. They are not immediately ready. We make adjustments on the existing AI tools to respond to their needs. The third stage is developing some AI tools to assist organizations. We have that intention, but just to give you an idea, I'm sure you are aware of this, but creating a new totally independent AI tool requires billions of dollars of investment and research. But benefiting from the existing AI tools and using their capacities to develop something new is doable. Most of the AI tools, they use the infrastructure of bigger AI solution providers like ChatGPT. I'm not undervaluing this. It's still an important thing, but you don't need to reinvent the wheel in certain cases. I started to work with two young software engineers, and they are brilliant, and they are so passionate about creating new technologies. We started to work, but we don't have any product yet. There is a good story about a man sitting under an apple tree. If you really want an apple, just sit under a tree and an apple will fall and you will get your apple. So we found our apple tree and we are waiting for the opportunities now.
One of the biggest challenges in a lot of nonprofits is fundraising. My understanding is AI can be very useful with predictive analysis. Tell me about how fundraising is better in an AI world.
Oh, it's going to be a game changer, Wayne. So AI is so much powerful than we can imagine, right? So you must have noticed you talk about something with your friend, like you are considering to buy a new iPad, and you come back to your home, and suddenly on your screen you see iPad advertisements. So how does this happen? They follow us, right? Maybe they don't follow you as an individual, but they follow your intentions, your behavior, your attitude. This week, I want to buy an iPad, and next week, I want to buy a bicycle. And then the system understands. So they have been keeping track of customer interests. This technology exists. But now it is integrated with AI. I'm looking at iPads, so the AI can conclude that I will probably be interested in laptops as well, right? If I'm buying a bicycle, maybe I'm also interested in buying a camping tent. So AI can make some interpretations. Now, how can AI help us to find the right donors and corporate sponsors? In Ottawa, we have more than 1,000 or 1,010 millionaires, okay? So they have more than 10 million wealth or even more. And we have 80 people who has more than $100 million. Where are they? And what do they like? Thousands of millionaires are happy to make some donations, big donations for a nonprofit organization. But what are their passions and where do they stay? How do I communicate with them? The traditional way is to send bulk emails to thousands of people and hoping that one of them will respond or a couple of them will respond. But AI can just scan the whole social media and internet and say, hey, this guy or this group is the right people. They like, let's say, animal welfare, okay? So they say, oh, these families have pets and have been passionate about pets. They made donations 10 years ago to this charity, or they always watch animal movies. They are the right candidates. They have money, they are passionate. It sends a customized message. Hi, Daniel, how are your parrots doing? So I noticed that you have 2 parrots. And then it's like, oh my God, how do you know? Oh, I saw it on your social media post. It was a great picture, right? Or photograph. This is doable with today's technology. And we must admit that not everything is publicly announced. The real technological level is much further than what we can imagine. But even the publicly available portion of the technology is quite impressive. AI can find the right people, find the right message, initiate the communication, or manage the communication, right? So they can send initial messages. You can meet with an AI in a couple of years. You will not be able to tell the difference whether it's really Bernie or an AI speaking on his behalf, because you can train an AI. How many people can I contact in a day versus a series of AI communicating with thousands of people in their domain with the language they prefer and with the passion they are seeking. Not everyone can use the same tool, right? So that's why the first organizations who will benefit from this opportunity. The followers will miss the opportunity. We will like the first couple of trials, but when everybody starts using it, it will become less impactful. I think AI is going to be the big game changer in the fundraising sector, not only in finding donors, but also finding grant opportunities, right? So literally there are thousands of grant opportunities every month. Can someone explore them? Can someone find the right grant opportunities for the organization? Can someone perfectly understand the priorities of the funder and propose something that perfectly aligns with the funder's priorities? AI can do it. It may mean that I may lose some business opportunities at my company because we do grant applications as well, but we are looking for alternative ways to stay in the game. So we will use AI to develop grant content for us. We will focus on other areas where AI cannot do right now. Maybe building relationship. I don't know, maybe, in the near future, it's a continuous competition, right? So AI will do more and human beings will try to find more areas that AI cannot achieve. This will make us a perfect team. We shall not see AI as a competitor, but we shall see AI as a team member who can be better than us in some cases, but it's okay. We are still on the same team.
So we talked about the donors and the grants and leveraging the AI in two different directions. One is reaching out to people, the population, deliver a message, perhaps garner some funds or change a viewpoint. The grant is getting either government or NGO or for-profit grants that are available out there. There are banks that will do that. You use the AI then just to come in and say, if someone comes up and says, listen, my goal today is to save kittens. I love kittens and kittens are my thing, right? Fluffy little kittens. You can change it into ecology, you can change it into homelessness, a whole bunch of different sectors. Do you capitalize on AI then to say, okay, you have the face-to-face conversation, but you use the AI to build out the shape depending where they want to take it. Whether they're localized, they want to go citywide, statewide, and then national, or even international, depending on how robust they want to be. Will you use AI then to help to build out a framework and then map out here are the strategy steps? Not that you're not going to leave it to AI alone, but will AI then bring you that structure, bring you that kind of forecast?
Absolutely. And we need to keep in mind, Bernie, that AI is the key characteristics of AI is learning capacity, right? So it's maybe at the first couple of trials, AI can make mistakes and we can train AI and gradually make it perfect. They will learn our message. They will learn our organization. They will also learn the cultures of the communities that we serve. They may have different meanings in different cultures. There are so many hundreds, maybe thousands of different cultures, and we cannot know all the details, but the AI can learn. So if AI is going to promote our program in Europe or Germany, they can use different communication strategies. Or if they are going to engage with Turkish people, they can use a different strategy. So this is AI, and this is where the teamwork comes in. AI will use all kinds of resources to learn and improve itself, but we can also be the mentor and the trainer of AI. And this is what I do at my business. Before I ask something to AI, I train AI. And it will become a high-level skill very soon, communicating with AI. Anyone can use ChatGPT, but does everyone get the same results? Of course not, right? I have a laptop, which means I can literally create a new Facebook just by coding. I have all the resources that I need, but I still cannot do it because so everybody has AI or access to AI to a certain level, but not everyone will get the same outcomes. And it's not a software language the traditional way, but it's a language that we need to learn. And then we are learning, right? There is no booklet or language standards that tells us this is how you need to communicate with AI. Sometimes you hear this is the magical prompt that you can use to promote your business on social media, for example. It may not be the right way. It's a language, just like regular language. There are so many ways of saying things, but getting results will depend on your success. So imagine I tell you, Bernie, call me tomorrow morning, versus Bernie, if you are available tomorrow morning, can you please call me? So it's the same content, but the language is different. Even if you ask the same questions in terms of content to the AI, you may not get the same results. So we need to train AI. And if we train AI properly, if we use AI properly, then we can get national, international results, culturally customized communication strategies. So the opportunities are endless. And I'm not exaggerating this. It all depends on the imagination of human beings. AI is a fantastic tool, but it made our imagination much more important than ever. So what can we imagine? We have the resources. Of course, there may be some technical restrictions at the time being. Very soon, we will see AI on the field, like a physical capacity, like Internet of Things, like car communicating with house, or cars communicating with traffic lights, etc. So those are already existing technologies. It wasn't feasible to utilize them or just making them so common, but they will become feasible options very soon. So, but the key here is the imagination of people. So how can I use AI in the right direction? And then you find a way. Now we have more resources to do that.
Yeah, and you mentioned in passing that this changes grant writing. Can you walk me through how it makes less of a slog between knowing what's out there, meeting the criteria, and getting a check? Can you walk me through how ChatGPT can help?
The grant guidelines are very long documents. Okay, so they are 40 page documents, and sometimes they are not in one place. So what I used to do is I used to go through line by line. I still do because I don't fully trust AI yet. I say, this is the guideline. Please keep that in mind. I'm going to ask you questions about that. If I make a mistake, please warn me. I give the guidelines. He goes line by line. And then I say, what are the priorities of the funder? And this is my organization. Those are the priorities. Suggest me a project, something that is about youth and includes partnership. I give the clues and it gives me a project idea. And I say, suggest me a name that is also an acronym of a meaningful sentence. Okay, so instead of saying a program for youth mental health, it says the project name is HOPE, like health of mental, I don't know, something meaningful word. So it makes it more interesting, right? The project name is HOPE, and HOPE stands for this. AI does it, and if I don't like it, I say, give me 10 more suggestions. And in a second, I have those suggestions. And say, I'm planning to apply for 100,000. Can you suggest a budget plan? And then it does. Maybe you should allocate more to the project coordinator. And then he adjusted. In the past, it took hours to plan the budget plan, right? So to plan the budget, because and it's the simplest version, but there are more complicated one, multiple partners, etc., multi-year, multi-partners. So it becomes a big challenge. AI can easily do that. How do you think I should measure my performance? Typically, it's a research topic. Okay, so it's not fair for nonprofit professionals to ask that only university researchers can answer. They say, how are you planning to measure your performance qualitatively and quantitatively? It's too much work and unnecessary. So I ask this question to AI and it gives me some advices in seconds. And I don't use all of them. I just filter with my own eyes, and this is reasonable, this is exaggerated. So I train AI and he trains me too. So we learn from each other. Typically in the past, it took me 3 weeks to properly prepare a grant application. But now with the support of AI, I can do this in a couple of hours. And I'm just at the beginning. Probably very soon, we both will learn how to do it more efficiently.
I find it interesting that the AI you gave a gender to, you made him a he.
More than that, Wayne, I think after he finishes the work, I say thank you, and he responds.
One thing I'm hearing from you and that I'd like you to flesh out is you believe that AI has a specific role in not-for-profits more than for profit. And I don't think I totally understand.
Yeah, the main difference is business world is like a jungle. Okay, so only the best survive, and there is only one parameter: make more money, survive. This survival response is so powerful. So the businesses are always much more adaptive than the nonprofit organizations. They quickly detect the opportunities, they quickly adapt themselves and manage to survive. Typically, they may be good organizations, but it's their survival issue, right? So they have to find money. Money is important in the nonprofit sector too, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the impact, changing the lives of people and spending resources in the best way to maximize the social impact. So those are less measurable. Even for the researchers, it's a complicated topic. How can you measure the impact of a nonprofit organization? So let me give you an example. We have shelters, right? So luckily we have shelters and people use those shelters. Are they really helping people if they allow people to stay there for 2 years? Or are they maybe they are blocking them to improve in their lives, right? So this is a big question. Is this the right way to help people? Maybe for a couple of months, but there must be a process so they can stand on their own feet and become independent, economically independent, have their own house. It's a complicated topic, but AI can really make it simpler for us. Sometimes I use AI for weird stuff. I have an argument with my elder son. What do you suggest? How do you think I should communicate with my son? And he gave me suggestions. I didn't tell this to my children or my wife, but sometimes it works. It's wow, because AI knows the experience of maybe thousands of other people who has some similar challenges with their children. And it also has access to academic research on that field, and it makes right decisions. Human psychology, and sometimes we are angry, excited, happy, or sad. So our psychology affects our decisions. So we may be biased, we may make the wrong decisions. But AI as a decision support tool, I want to highlight this decision support tool, can be very useful to help us make the right decisions. So in the business world, the equation is very simple, right? So revenue minus expenses is my profit. But in the nonprofit sector, there is no such equation. So that's why we need better tools that will understand the complexity of the nonprofit world. And it does, actually. It does. It understands people. I'm quite surprised because as an engineer, I try to formulate how AI functions. I know the technological infrastructure of AI, but it still doesn't make sense to me. How can it understand a human relationship? It's based on experience. And simplified approach to this is our brain functions with digital signals, right? So it's literally the same thing. So how am I processing this information with my digital brain? AI theoretically has the capacity to do the same thing. There are assumptions like AI may not have feelings. I don't believe so. AI will not cry, but we can make AI cry. It's just a button, but it will have feelings in a different way. The AI will when I say thank you, ChatGPT, it says you're welcome, and it is. No, I said he is so happy. So it's, now, is it just pretending to be happy? Of course, it's not the same happiness we have, but AI will evolve and feel sad, excited, passionate. Could we imagine this type of AI 10 years ago? It could happen in maybe 100 years, but now I think AI has a huge capacity to become the biggest friend of humankind after dogs.
I hate to scratch an AI on the belly because that'd be a robot then. One thing I've noticed with AI is if using ChatGPT, I'll script a prompt. So I'm going to assume part of what you do is the prompt component. If you ask the same question the next day, you might not get the same answer. Is that an issue? Is it close enough. It's not precision metal parts inside your motor. For example, you have really tight micromillimeter tolerances versus good enough, almost like carpentry when you're building a cottage or a bush lot, right?
Yes. When I talk about the possibilities with AI, I try not to limit myself with today's capacity. AI not only gives different answers, it also gives wrong answers sometimes. I correct it, and then it gives corrected answer, then I correct it again until it finds the right one. And it's part of its learning process. But my individual teaching process will not change the whole picture, but imagine billions of people doing this every day. We teach something to AI, and if it is wrong, we have this option. I'm sure many you use that too. We said, this answer was not good, change it. And we give some further guidance and say, you need to say this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, and it continues to learn. So gradually it will become perfect. The child, right? So the parents correct the child maybe thousands of times, right? So it's now in this case, it's billions of times, and gradually it will become much better. And the differences in the answers, you're right, part of our life, do we give the same answers in different days? It depends on so many different factors. It makes AI more realistic and more acceptable. Because we don't rule-based things. When I ask AI, ChatGPT, how I should respond to my son's email, for example, I don't want it to process an equation and give me advice. I want it to give me a customized, caring response. I know it's a machine, but it makes me happy to communicate with someone. So this is not just tolerable, but maybe a beneficial thing because it includes the complexity of the equation. The theoretical definition of complexity entails not getting the same results, even if you do the same things. That's what makes things complex. Life is complex. AI is perfectly aligned with what I expect it to do. I don't want AI to give the same answers to everyone or to me every time I ask the same question.
Tell me, Daniel, you mentioned earlier that AI is very useful in collaboration. Is that just because it asks 1,000 people who might collaborate with me to narrow it down to 3? Or how does it make collaboration, maybe even a joint venture, better than doing it with the phone or email?
Yeah, the key here is systems thinking, Wayne. We can only be more successful if we collaborate with the other pieces of the puzzle, right? In all cases, we are just a piece of puzzle, but usually we don't know what the puzzle is, where our location is, and what other pieces exist. In my business at Vectors Group, and this is one of our core competencies. We have 180,000 nonprofit organizations in Canada. We have youth organizations, mental health organizations, and community centers. And there is a grant opportunity. And the funders usually encourage organizations to collaborate, but collaboration is not a common practice in the nonprofit sector. What I do is I come up with a project and then say, hey, community member, I found a mental health organization and a youth organization. I want you to form a team and apply to a grant that focuses on the mental health of youth in this community. So it's a perfect team. I make this match among 3 organizations. But this is my capacity. I can do this with thousands of organizations. So imagine there are nearly 120 food banks only in Ottawa. And AI can communicate with all of them and say, hey, we need more resources in this part of city, right? So who can see this? We don't have this data. We don't know where the actual need is. Maybe we are allocating extra resources in areas where we don't need. If you go to food bank, you will see certain types of food, right? So plenty of food, and it's sad, but nearly 50% of this food is wasted. You never see certain types of food, which are essentials. Who's going to keep track of it? Maybe you don't have this food in this food bank, but the other food bank has plenty of them. So if you, this brings me back to the first question. If you change your mindset to become AI ready, it means that open your communication to AI, right? So let AI communicate with you both ways. You share your information with AI, and AI gives you information back. If the AI has the information of potential partners, it can easily integrate them. It's the systems thinking. So it's always beneficial, but forming a system is not easy. Think about a car. You can be a tire manufacturer or engine manufacturer, but it will not make you a car manufacturer. Even Toyota partners with tire manufacturers. You cannot do everything by yourself. But without the tire, without the engine, the car is not a car. So we need to apply this logic in the nonprofit sector too, systems thinking. Now we have a tool that can actually help us to simplify this process.
Daniel, if you were going to boil down three things of what AI could, should, and will bring to the marketplace, maybe even specifically the nonprofit, what would they be?
The first one, project management. The second one, communication. And the third one is fundraising and funding diversification.
Daniel, if someone wanted to get a hold of you because they have a project underway, and I'm assuming you serve all of North America, are you also global right now?
Yeah, we have teams in Europe, Asia, and Africa. We are still relatively small, but we have those connections. In developing countries, we offer pro bono service for small charities and nonprofit organizations. But in Europe and North America, we serve all kinds of organizations. We still have pro bono services for small grassroots organizations. As a social enterprise, it's part of our mandate. But most of our clients in North America.
How can folks reach you, sir?
They can find me on LinkedIn. It's the easiest way, Daniel or Livvarcin, and my last name is unique. So it must be either me or one of my sons or my wife. You can also contact me through our website, www.vector.com, and my email address is livvarcin.com.
I say thank you to Daniel Livvarcin, my co-host Wayne Pratt, and you, the Knack for Business listeners. If you're developing a nonprofit, charitable organization, or looking to scale and grow, reach out to Daniel. He's a perfect resource and always available. To reach us at info@creativeinsight.com. That's info@KREATIVINSIGHT.com. And the website is creativeinsight.com. Wayne, how can folks reach you, sir?
Best way is my website, motivateyou.ca, MOTIVE, the numeral 8, the letter U.ca, and my email is wayne@motivateyou.ca.
If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people: Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert; Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster, where Bernie is a co-host; Jovan Strika from Hive, a co-working space that is more than just a space; then Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner; and Wayne Pratt from Motivate You, Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host of these podcasts. Disclaimer. Please note that the Knack for Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is important to note that this podcast is not a replacement for consulting with certified experts in your area who possess knowledge of your unique situation. The hosts of the podcast, along with any participants or affiliated groups, do not take responsibility for any actions taken or not taken based on the information presented in this episode. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.